Good morning and welcome. Welcome indeed to another edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast as we are streaming live, yes, all around the universe from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Yes, take back control of your life. Call them today. All the links for Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys is on my website at markmosesshow.com. Now let's get this guy on. He's got a great t-shirt on. I'm running with the Florida today. He is Mr. 321, Mr. Tim Walters. Tim, how you doing today?
It's always great to be here, Mark. I appreciate it. All over the universe we're being broadcast. I love that.
That's right. That is absolutely right. Now, today's a very special day because the trifecta is now completed. High school's back going into week 3. College football is going to go into week 2. And tonight, the National Football League is back. Cowboys and Eagles. I always say now it is smooth sailing till we get to the Super Bowl with content. Non-stop football action. Are you excited as a football guy? All this football is now back.
Oh, of course I am. Look forward to this night every year. Obviously, fantasy football gets going tonight. I don't know how many leagues you do. I do too. Love the fantasy football. Gonna love watching the Dallas Cowboys get pummeled tonight. I don't think they have a shot against the Eagles, but we'll see. And yeah, it's just a great time to be alive, Mark. As you say, week 3 in high school football, technically week 4 for 4 of our teams in Brevard County who are in the Sunshine State Athletic Association. So crazy to think, as we always talk about, how fast it flies by. But gosh, we are moving through quickly.
You're absolutely right. I talked with, and I told you this before we came on, I'm going to post it later today. Last night I got a chance to talk to head coach Jake Owens there at Space Coast and about his championship year last year. And it's weird. You're right. They're at a bye week. They've already played 3 games. They're off this week. I'm like, how do you have a bye week? It's September 4th. He's like, hey, that's how it works. Then they're going to play Astronaut. So, yeah, it's very interesting with these games. By the way, I'm taking the Cowboys tonight. Since everyone and their mother, including you, Mr. 321, I'm taking them boys. I think they're going to do it. I think it's going to be one of those. I know they're a 7-point dog on the road. I think Jerry Jones gets the win and goes, nah, take that, Micah Parsons. I'm taking the boys. I know. Boo, Mark, boo. That's my pick, Tim. Take it or leave it.
I thought it was funny last week when they were talking about the trade and Jerry Jones continuously called him Michael Parsons, which of course we know Michael Parsons. He's the athletic administrator over at Eastern Florida State College, also a former colleague of mine at Florida Today. So he kept calling Micah Michael, and it just made me laugh.
I did a video for YouTube, like a short. It was on TikTok breaking down the trade. And I said Micah Parsons. I screwed up. And I got destroyed in the comments. Destroyed. So it's Micah. Okay. Even though they screw up Moses somehow, it's Mark Moses. But he is Micah Parsons. And you know what he's going to be doing this year? Jack squat for the Packers because I hate them with a passion. That's also my officials. So you're taking the Eagles. Do you think they cover the 7 points at home?
Yeah, I think they're going to win by like 3 touchdowns. I don't think this Cowboys team is going to be good at all. You've lost the centerpiece of your defense, a guy who is clearly in his prime. And now you're looking at the defending NFL champions. I don't like their odds.
You know what I love? You're like Adam Schefter right now. Nonstop. People are calling and texting with updates to you. Is it because you're taking the Eagles? Why do they keep texting you, Tim?
No, well, the Jaguars, of course, have practiced this morning as they roll toward their game next week. I have one guy on my staff. I won't say his name to embarrass him, but he doesn't text. He always calls. So you heard it ring first. Then I texted him that I'm on the radio. He still left me a voicemail, and then he texted me back. So, some of these guys, they can't take a hint, but I love my staff. They're hardworking. They're always there doing the best job for the Florida Times Union in Jacksonville at jacksonville.com. So, they're just trying to get a hold of their boss who, instead of doing his bossly work, is sitting here talking about nothing with you. But it's the best kind of nothing.
I like today is 9/4. So the Jaguars posted it's 904 day, like the area code. And they're doing all this. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Time out. Okay. Didn't you have what was the thing they had last year for Trevor Lawrence? Remember, it was some at the state instead of Everbank Stadium. What was it? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, they made it Trevor Banks Stadium, and then he laid a goose egg and they lost. So it wasn't a great thing to be Trevor Banks Stadium that day.
All right, we'll get to the Jaguars in a second. Let's go to the schedule here. I know you have it in front of you. I'm going to bring it on the screen here. All right, week 3, even though what you said to correct me, yes, also week 4 for some teams. Tell us about games going on. I know Satellite's playing tonight, but what about these games coming up Friday night, buddy?
Yeah, well, first, Satellite is playing at home tonight against Oxbridge Academy. So here's trivia question number 1. Do you know where is Oxbridge Academy?
I think this is going to be some type of test for me where it's a riddle, like I'm Batman taking on the Riddler. I'm gonna mess with you. You think I'm gonna say Orlando? I'm gonna say Daytona somehow is the answer. Is that right?
Nope, but if you continue south for 3 hours on I-95, you'll eventually hit it from Daytona. It is in West Palm Beach, Oxbridge Academy in West Palm Beach. So that is the one game tonight, Thursday night, playing Satellite. It is week 4 for Satellite as part of the SSAA. They're 3-0. So they're looking to move to 4-0 on the season under head coach Dan Burke, who took over that program this offseason. So that is our one game tonight before we move into games tomorrow night.
Okay, then. Thank you for the update. I learned that Oxford University is in West Palm Beach. There you go. What are the games coming up tonight, buddy?
Not quite Oxford, Oxbridge, but that's all right.
You're absolutely right. All right. What are some of these games? We're looking at the schedule right now. Which games do you like for tonight then?
Yeah, so we'll start at the top since this is the order you have put them in. Again, Bayside is in the SSAA, and they're on their 4th game. They are playing at Tradition Prep, which is kind of over in the, I guess you'd say maybe the Disney area of Orlando, Tradition. But so Bayside heads over there. Palm Bay at Cocoa Beach, that should be a pretty even matchup, I would say. Both teams have one win. They were both 0-1 after week 1, and they both got their first wins last week. So Palm Bay, now led by Kevin Mays, going to play Cocoa Beach, which that one should be a good one. They're spearheaded by Ted Kimmy, who's also the athletic director at Cocoa Beach High. So that one should be entertaining. Chastity Banks, our high school reporter here at Florida Today, she's going to try and get over to that game as her second game of the night. I'll talk about her first game of the night once we get down to it as we move through this. But after that, Cocoa at Vero Beach, this is going to be a really good one. You know, Vero Beach is obviously a power. They played O'Galley to open the season and won that when O'Galley lost their quarterback to a knee injury. And Cocoa, you know, they lost to Daytona Mainland last week. And Mainland, of course, is always a contender. Cocoa, they're breaking in a new quarterback. And, you know, they lost a lot of really good players to college football last year. So we'll see if Cocoa can rebound from a loss. Still a really good team, but that one's down in Vero Beach, not too far from the South Brevard County line if you want to go watch some really good football down there at Vero Beach High. Next, I think this is going to be a great matchup, even though O'Galley has lost its quarterback. They got their first win last week. They beat Rockledge. They're playing Heritage. Both teams are really good. Both are in our top 10 of our power rankings here in the county. So, you know, that should be a nice matchup there in Melbourne, right off the O'Galley Causeway. Holy Trinity's playing down at Port St. Lucie. Holy Trinity, of course, is, you know, another SSAA team. So we'll keep an eye on what happens with Holy Trinity at Port St. Lucie. That game getting coverage from our sister newspaper, which is the tcpalm.com and the Treasure Coast newspapers. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. University at Melbourne. Melbourne suffered a loss to Merritt Island last week. Merritt Island may be the most improved team in the county, but Melbourne hosting University. St. Andrews is playing at Melbourne Central Catholic, and that's where Chastity Banks will start her night. She tries to get out to 2 games. And quiz number 2, Mark. Do you know where is St. Andrews High School?
Okay. So last time you said it was in West Palm Beach. I'm going to say Orlando area for this one.
Mark, I could give you 30 tries. You probably wouldn't get this one. St. Andrews, located in lovely Rat's Mouth, Boca Raton. So there you go.
I thought I thought Rat's Mouth was going to be a real name for a town for a
Well, Boca
second.
Raton, translated Boca, mouth, Raton, rat. I mean, their school is located in Rat's Mouth. You know, the Spanish language is so much nicer than the English language when you think of some of their words. Things like Boca Raton, La Cucaracha. Like if you were to sing that in English, you'd just be singing the cockroach, oh, the cockroach. No, it sounds terrible, right? And even how they pronounce chocolate, chocolate. I would much rather chocolate than chocolate. But anyhow, that is to digress. That school is located in Boca Raton.
I like this game. This is good. And by the way, Tim brings more thunder to the table than AI does. Okay, this guy's breaking out cockroach songs. How what did you call the rat's mouth? What does Boca Raton mean? What is it?
That's what it means, rat's mouth.
All right. Well, I'm going to take MCC in that win. That's what I'm going to do. I am. What's the next game on your list, buddy?
All right, Merritt Island traveling up to DeLand. And like I said, Merritt Island, they're a really good team this year. They lost in double overtime to Cocoa. They kind of laid it down on Melbourne last week to beat them. So I think that's going to be a good one. In 8-on-8 football, Merritt Island Christian heads to Countryside Christian. And again, Calvary Chapel also.
Don't ask where it is. I don't know. Okay. It could be in Georgia. I have no idea, buddy. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. I
actually think Countryside might be in the Jacksonville area, but I'll have to double check on that one because that I'm not even sure of, Mark. Calvary Chapel, another 8-man football team. They're playing First Coast Christian. That is located in Jacksonville. I know that First Coast Christian is one of the schools that our great high school reporter in Jacksonville, Clayton Freeman, covers. Rockledge travels to Cardinal Mooney, which I know where that is. Do you know where Cardinal Mooney is located, Mark?
I believe that's in South Florida, correct? Like Fort Lauderdale or no?
Gosh, I'd have to look that up. I thought they were in Sarasota.
All right. Look, I said this last week. I will say it again. There is a school for you. You can't be like, I can't find a high school to attend. There are so many high schools in this state. I think you're right with Cardinal Mooney. All right. And then what do you got? Titusville, they're going to be in action as well.
Yes, the Google machine tells me I was right. Cardinal Mooney is in Sarasota. So luckily, I got that one right. Titusville, they are at West Orange, which that one is in the Orlando area, Mark. And then we round it out with Vieira at Astronaut. And that should actually be a pretty entertaining game. Vieira is much improved. Astronaut's much improved. So that one's going to be taking place up in Titusville. And as you mentioned, Mark, we do have so many high school football teams. In fact, in the state, we have more than 500. So a lot of high school football teams for us to cover. We have 17 newspapers in the USA Today Florida Sports Network, and we cover a huge chunk of those 500. So I won't rattle off all of our properties, although I could in about 15 seconds. I know them so well.
I know you could. Let's say you were in Jacksonville or you were in Tampa, and we're like, okay, where's Vieira High School? No way. No way anyone have it. Look, I'm still confused. Is Vieira a town? Is it a neighborhood? Is it in Melbourne? Maybe you could answer this for me because I'm still confused by this.
Yes, it's considered an unincorporated part of Brevard, so it actually falls under county jurisdiction. It has a Melbourne mailing address, similar to Port St. John, where you find Space Coast Junior Senior High. They have a Cocoa mailing address. They are also an unincorporated part of Brevard, so they are under the county and not the city of Cocoa. A lot of places like that around town. Merritt Island is one of those as well, where it's not a city. In fact, I can remember several times over my 4+ decades here in Brevard County where they've tried making Merritt Island a city, and that has been shot down each time. So that's how that works, Mark. The county and its police force and its utilities and things like that. So it all depends. But yes, I live in Vieira and I have a Melbourne mailing address.
All right. I'm going to stick up for Merritt Island. You know what they have? They have a shopping mall. If you have a shopping mall, you are a town. Now, is it the greatest shopping mall? No, because half of it is completely closed down, like most malls in this country. But if you have a mall and a movie theater, you are a town. Don't give me this BS, okay? Merritt Island is a town. It has stores. There is a mall. I like going there. I see crazy things. I'm putting my foot down. Merritt Island is a real town. I'm going
Yeah,
for it.
I'm sad what's happened to the Merritt Island Mall. I could sit here and go off on that, Mark. When you go to the Melbourne Square Mall, that place is packed. It's always full. We were up in the Jacksonville area near St. Augustine 2 weekends ago, and they have a two-story mall, and the place was packed, and every store was taken, and it was so lively. You walk in Merritt Island's Mall, and it is just depressing. And I can look around and remember when it had an Omni music store, when it had a KB toy store, when it had all of these wonderful places that you can go and shop. In fact, I can remember, this is how long I've been here, Mark. There was once a Sears at the far end of the mall. I remember when they added that Sears, because originally Sears was in Rockledge, and that building's since been torn down, and they've built condos on that spot right near where Rosa L. Jones meets US 1. So that's why I'm Mr. 321. I remember ridiculous history. I remember when the Walmart is where now the Harbor Freight is on Merritt Island. They opened the Super Walmart my senior year of high school way back in 1994. I can remember where they're building the Health First Hospital on Merritt Island across from the mall. There was once a Kmart there, and before it was Kmart, it was Cook's. I can remember the green lettering on the building. So there you go.
Why are you not the tour guide for this area? You just rattled that all off. Hey, I've been here so long. How long, Mark? The Sears across the street from Melbourne High School. I went in there. A couple times when I first moved here. That used to be a Sears. Then it sat there for a decade as an abandoned Sears, which I always felt like should have been like a haunted house for Halloween. It would have been badass going in there. You wouldn't even have to put up decorations. Just walking in to see what's still in there, as it's been closed for years, would have been great. But now they tore that down, and I believe that's now apartments and condos across the street. Fantastic. It really is. Game of the night. It's that O'Galley game. I'm going to bring this up one more time. All right. I think Heritage at O'Galley is the game of the night here in Melbourne. All these games are 7:00 with the kickoff. I'm going to take O'Galley. I am. I think this is a big game for them. I think they have to get it done. What about you, Tim, when you look at this game?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. I mean, I think Heritage has a very good high school football team, but I think O'Galley, even after losing its experienced quarterback, still has too much D1 talent. They have several players that are going to be going on to the next level. They may have the best player in the county in Xavier Larice. So I'm going to have to take O'Galley there.
All right. I asked this question to our colleague Alan earlier in the week with Brevard Sports Network. I'm going to ask you this question right now, and it's okay whatever you answer. No pressure. After what you've seen through 2 weeks, and we're heading into week 3, some teams are week 4, do you think any of these teams are good enough to get to a state championship game? That's my question for you. I'm saying no. Right now, after what I saw from Coco, and essentially O'Galley lost their quarterback, right now, no. Now, that could change in a couple weeks. I'll say no for a state championship right now. How about you?
Yeah, the only caveat I will put on that is right now, no to our FHSAA teams. There's no reason why Space Coast can't repeat as a state champion in the SSAA. And we've got a couple of other SSAA teams that are really good. I would actually say that, Satellite is looking really strong. But yeah, as of right now, unless Coco kind of figures things out, obviously, like I said, they've got a quarterback named Champ that's trying to figure things out right now. And, O'Galley, I might have given them maybe a potential nod, but like you say, they lost their quarterback to a knee injury. We're not quite sure when he's going to be back. And then in a couple of weeks, we get to see Coco play O'Galley. So it's going to be number 1 versus number 2 in the county. And that will be a great game to watch.
Okay. Can I get you out of Tim Island? Can we go to that game in person? Would you be up for this? Can we get you going? Come on.
I guess I got to check my schedule, Mark, because if I'm out of town the next day for my daughter's soccer team, or, I got so many things going on. I'm just trying to get through the next day, Mark. But yes, if I can get out there with you, I would love to.
You make it sound like, I'll be signing autographs for fans at the Miami Comic-Con in South Florida. I don't know. I'm a very busy man, Mr. 321.
Well, also, this is the time of year where I'm also working on Sundays for NFL Sundays, because not only do I manage Florida Today, I manage the Florida Times Union. We have a team of people covering the Jaguars. So there's not many days off, and I'm also trying to balance that with having a kid who's a really good budding star soccer goalie. So all sorts of things going on there, Mark.
I understand. You're a busy man. I get it. Let's go to college football real quick here with Tim Walters with the Florida Today. All right. I think this is true. I saw this stat. The Gators, Hurricanes, and Seminoles are all ranked top 15, top 16. First time since, is it 2006? Is it the apocalypse? Are the four horsemen going to show up? What is happening here after 1 week of college football in the States?
Yeah, it's week one. That's what's happening. Obviously with Alabama, they are not the Nick Saban Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, I think the only thing that's going to keep him head coach there is that his buyout package is over $70 million. But you know what? Hey, over 17 years of Nick Saban, they didn't have to have any buyouts. So you'd hope they were squirreling some money away to pay off a bad coach if one had come along, and this might be him. That team just looked outmatched. I watched that game. The first 9 minutes, I was like, oh boy, Florida State's going to get it. A 16-play drive. Alabama looked amazing. And then after that, it was all Florida State. They scored 3 straight touchdowns on them. They pushed them around. Castellanos, what a good-looking quarterback. Did he look like that at UCF? I have no idea because I wasn't watching UCF last year. They were awful. But, with the new offensive coordinator, who is also the UCF head coach the last several years, and bringing Castellanos up there. And I just think Florida State looked really good, but it's also hard for me to tell what is Florida State. What is it? They have 30, 40 different players than last year. So it's basically like they put Florida State uniforms on a totally different team. So they're certainly not the 2-10 just awful team from a year ago, but Castellanos moved so well. He made great decisions. So, and of course they have a nobody this week. So Florida State, I think they should be undefeated when they meet Miami here in a couple of weeks. Again, Miami's playing Bethune-Cookman, who lost to FIU. So obviously they have no chance against Miami. I watched that game with Notre Dame, and Miami was just really impressive. I think that, Mario Cristobal, the only reason that game was even close was because when they were up 14 points, he started coaching way too conservatively. And he does that a lot over his career. It's like, dude, don't let up. Just keep stepping on their neck. He let them back in the game. And then they let that pot-bellied kicker, who had only made like 4 field goals in his career kicking for FAU, you put that game in his hand from more than 40 yards out. Man, was that a nail biter, but they pulled that out. And then, of course,
the key. I'm sorry. I just want you to know this. But they won. They lose that game the last couple of years. And look, they still almost, like you said, I'm with you. They went super conservative down the stretch. Notre Dame almost stole that game. It was 24-24 late in the game. They lose that game the last couple of years. They got it done. Florida State won. They did. They snuck up on Alabama and got it. The question for them is, can they continue to do this moving forward? Right now, people have seen them. Now you've seen this offense, what Gus Malzahn wants to do. And you're right. They're going to win this weekend. If I bring this up. All right, you're right. So they have, is that right? East Texas A&M. Stop it. Okay. It's almost as bad as the Gators played last weekend. Okay.
All right. Do you know what East Texas A&M's mascot is?
Oh, it's got to be like, why do I feel like it's an armadillo? It's got to be something like that. What is it?
I believe they are the Lions. They are the Lions. And I did have to go get that logo. If you check out my 2-minute drill video that is up online at floridatoday.com and other places around the state, you will see a beautiful golden lion with a navy outline. They're kind of Michigan colors. So it is the East Texas A&M Lions versus the Florida State Seminoles.
So we learned last week that Long Island is the Sharks, and now they're the Lions of East Texas A&M. They had noon with the kickoff there. And by the way, Tommy, quarterback of Florida State. Remember, he was UCF, then Boston College, then Florida State. He'll probably play for another ACC team next year. All right, I have the schedule right here. I'm going to take this away. Okay. The Gators won 55-0. Now they have South Florida, who completely beat up Boise State. What do you think of this matchup coming up Saturday?
Yeah, this is a hard one to gauge because, yeah, Boise State looked terrible. They went into that game favored by, I think, a touchdown. They lost Ashton Genty, the running back who ran the ball 748 times last year. I mean, his stats were ridiculous if you go back and look at that season because he was their only good player. And now he's gone. USF obviously very much improved. I don't know what to think of this game, Mark. Las Vegas is making this, I believe, a 17-point spread. So a lot of people still believe in the Gators in this one. And obviously, I didn't learn much about the Gators last week, except DJ Lagway didn't get hurt. That was nice to see. And, he got pulled after, maybe about 2.5 quarters or so. He threw for about 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then they brought in Trammell, why is his last name escaping me? Jones from the Jacksonville area, and he comes in, throws for 3 touchdowns. He's a freshman. He was really good at Mandarin High School when he was up there. He was the guy that followed Carson Beck at that high school and started for several years there. So, I don't know what to make of this. I would hope the Gators should win this one, but this is one of those ones where the Gators might traditionally lay an egg. I hope they don't. So we'll just have to see. But, a 17-point spread, I like to think the Gators can win. Would I bet on that spread? I bet a lot of money is going to be on Tampa this week. So if you want a value pick, you might want to take Florida with the points.
Okay. So the next 4 weeks, the Gators have South Florida, who look good in their opener, then go to LSU, who some people think should be the number 1 team in the country, beating Clemson on the road. Then, and I agree, I don't believe in that, but top 5, fine. So South Florida, LSU, Miami, then Texas. The Jaguars' schedule is not that hard. I'm sorry. What? All right. So the next 4 weeks is best case scenario going 3-1 if you're the Florida Gators with this schedule.
I guess I'd take 3-1. Sure. There's no reason why they can't beat LSU. I watched that game. Nussmeier gets a lot of kudos. They were okay. I think Clemson might have been a little bit overrated. I watched the Texas-Ohio State game. Arch Manning looked totally confused and demoralized out there. I kind of felt bad for him because how do you live up to the weight of those expectations? And you're playing the defending national champion at their home after Lee Corso put their head on. So, the Gators could certainly win that game. I think Miami scares me the most out of LSU, Miami, and Texas because Carson Beck looked pretty good. If Mario Cristobal, maybe he can turn the play calling over to somebody that knows what they're doing. Miami kind of got lucky with one of the best catches you will ever see anywhere in the history of time. I mean, that guy, he used his he looked like which is the Incredible that has the super stretch power. I remember seeing that movie, The Incredibles, a long time ago. I know one of the family members could stretch like that.
Right, wait a minute. Okay, let's clarify this. You're not thinking of Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four. When you think of that power, you think of The Incredibles, Elastic Girl, the mother, wife. That's how your brain. You went with the Disney reference, not the actual reference, Mr. Fantastic. That's what you're going with.
Well, that's because my daughter watched a lot of those movies over the past few years. She's now aging out of it a little bit. I also, Mark, went with want to talk about an obscure reference for you as a Simpsons fan? I almost went with Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl.
By the way, okay. By the way, I'm changing my camera so we're the same height. I wanted you to feel big because you always joke that I'm 6'4". I wanted you to be tall most of this interview. I was at Universal. I went right into the Simpsons gift shop, which is the Quickie Mart. And I was like, where's that Bort? Give me the Bort. I know you have to be a hardcore Simpsons fan to understand that joke. Where's the Bort nameplate, which I could buy? They were sold out. My sister and I, she's like, well, you got to get one. I was like, they're sold out, just like the show. So we go up to the front. We're like, hey, do you have any more Bort name tags? She's like, no. That's the number one joke for me then for the Simpsons. They're out of Bort. So my sister, she found the keychain. So I have a Bort keychain. That's right. That's how I get the ladies right there. Impress them with the Bort keychain, buddy. That's right.
Well,
That's
what they should do is put none out, and then when you ask for one, they say over the loudspeaker, "We need more Bort license plates."
in case you don't know, Bart wants a name plat at Itchy and Scratchy Land, but they have no Bart, but they have plenty of Borts. That's the best. Stupid. Who thought of that joke? The stupidest
Probably
thing.
Conan O'Brien at that
It has
time. He
to
was
be.
one of the best writers for that show ever.
It has to be. It's the stupid. Goes down as one of the dumbest jokes in the show, and I love it so much. I also took my photo with the. I'm laughing. I'm trying not to. When Krusty turns into George Carlin, oh yeah, that photo's on the wall as you're going into the ride. I took my photo with it. I love it because that's the Candanero joke. I love it so much. I do. All right, before I let you go, Jaguars. It's a new season. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to finish second in the division, win about 8 games. If I bring this back up, all right, can I do this? All right. They are the only team at home in the state of Florida. Panthers, 1 o'clock with the kick. It'll be 900 degrees like it always is on opening weekend there in Jacksonville. What do you think of this game, buddy?
Yeah, so this will be one of the last times where it will be that incredibly just punishing hot, as they're about to put $1.5 billion into Everbank Stadium. And part of it adds an enclosure like you see at many European soccer stadiums. And I think they said 80 to 90% of the seats will now be out of the sun, which is nice. The Jaguars are favored by 3.5 at home. 2 years ago, they absolutely destroyed the Panthers. The Panthers looked a lot better heading into the second half of last season. Dave Canales, who he was the predecessor to Liam Cohen before Liam Cohen became the Bucs offensive coordinator, and now they both have gotten head coaching jobs, and they're about to clash. So I'll say this. It's hard when you have a new executive vice president in Tony Baselli. It's hard when you have a new general manager in James Gladstone. It's hard when you have a new head coach in Liam Cohen. And it's hard when you have a two-way player in Travis Hunter, who is the number 2 overall pick with ridiculous expectations. I don't see it going all that well for the Jaguars, unfortunately. I'm picking the Panthers in my expert picks. I think this is going to be a close game. I would love to think maybe they're tied late and Cam Little can hit like a 70-yard field goal, but you can't expect that out of that guy every time. But here's a little knowledge too, Mark. So this will be the 3rd time that the Jaguars and Panthers will play in a season opener. Of course, both teams entered the league in 1995. Both teams are starting their 31st season. But here's a good stat for you, Mark. The previous 2 times the Jaguars have played the Panthers in a season opener, they have lost, and the Panthers have gone on to their only 2 Super Bowls. So we'll have to see what happens there.
That won't be a 3rd time. Don't worry. Okay. It's not going to be. His name is Tim Walters, Florida Today newspaper. He does a great job. Check out their coverage coming up for Friday Night Lights. This is very key with high school football here on the coast, and his Jaguars coverage, college football. He does it all. Tim, thank you so much for your help, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, I always appreciate it, Mark. And again, Friday night, FloridaToday.com. You can follow along with all the games on our scoreboard. We have the best coverage you can find. I appreciate it as always, and I love it when a plan comes together.